Welcome. I think it would be a good idea to talk about or to address the different perspectives that we're even engaging with in this conversation. What we're used to is the human perspective, uh, the relative perspective, this in relation to that, which, of course, embraces the whole idea of separation. Me as an entity, you, this, that, and the other thing, all these labels that we learned. That's our reality that we were programmed to believe. It was absolutely necessary. And so, no problem. Uh, the point here is, uh, you know, there can be a desire to really see reality for how it truly is, uh, not to get to some better place, although, that can be a motivator for some. I want to get to this better place. I want to feel better. I want to be more spiritual. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why anybody wants to do anything. Um, but ultimately, the perspective of the infinite, and let me just interrupt for a moment. The infinite and the human perspective are not like two separate things. Uh, there's no word to describe how they are one and the same. Uh, so I won't even try to put words on that, but there is no separation between the infinite and the finite or the human perspective, except how thought will tend to slice and dice things. So, with that kind of put out there first, this presence that is here is what is. And it shows up as all these inexplicable dynamisms that cannot be named or pinned down. And I'll go into more of what that is that we're very familiar with. But the human perspective does name and categorize everything, and it thinks that's what it is. This is where I found seemings to be very valuable when I was first uh, orienting to this um, more expansive perspective, I guess you'd say. I found seemings to be very valuable because then uh, thought was less likely to argue with, well, this isn't like that, or how thought tries to do those things. And the other piece is that's really important is that I did not want to fall into what I considered a trap of believing that I understood this infinite perspective and try to imagine uh, that I understood it, um, or pretend that I understood it when I didn't. Uh, because what's really necessary here is a curiosity. It's not about attaining some better way of perceiving. And, uh, thought, and I don't usually like to use the word ego, but it seems to be fitting here. Um, you know, ego likes these strategies for self-improvement, and it will pretend it's not doing it. But, uh, this is where honesty comes in, really, a kind of like a sincerity. But anyway, that aside, exploring these seemings and holding everything much more loosely that you think is a certain way, and even noticing how you're holding things a certain way. Um, for me, I found that really valuable. And I can only talk to you from my own direct experience. Um, but here's where the confusion starts. What's here is undivided reality, and you, this presence, are that. Vibrating different shapes, colors, sounds, sensations, thoughts, feelings, all arising. The programming sees it as separate, and things appear as a separate person. Now, these appearances, it's, it's really helpful to realize that, everything is an appearance. uh, you know, I think some people who may find it more difficult or haven't quite recognized um, everything on the news is an appearance. What do I mean by that? If I'm in my kitchen and I'm hearing something, that can be, annoyance can arise. What I'm hearing is sound, and interpretation arises as I hear this sound, these what I call words coming from the radio. And so then this activation occurs. And then perhaps um, spontaneously, effing idiot arises. I mean, this is all the display, this dynamism of appearance, this dynamism of reality just poofing its way into existence. I can step outside, uh, sit here in my garden and look at the incredible colors and shapes and sounds and just vibes in the garden. That too is an appearance, experience, reality dancing with itself. I can hear in the distance a siren. Mine can go interpret, oh no, what happened? That too is an appearance arising in experience, arising in reality, dancing with itself. So whatever appears, whether it's, uh, you know, a terrible image on your phone, whether it's a beautiful sunset, whether it's sharing a lovely dinner with a loved one, whether it's uh, having your pet of 15 years pass away, whether it's uh, experiencing what we call chronic pain. It's all the flow of experience. And in no way am I meaning to diminish how thought interprets, holds, and then may feel terrible about the experience. That too can be seen, how that dynamic flow of experience is unfolding. That is really the key, because not so often do we actually look into the unfolding of experience it's perceived a certain way, and then immediately it's interpreted, it's judged, it's liked or disliked. Not that any of that is wrong, but it's not seen, it's not recognized, it's identified with. So that is the key. And nothing needs to change, and everything unfolds and flows as it will. But it's the separate character that is making these interpretations seemingly. And so it's seeing how reality actually is, the way, other than the way we hold it kind of piecemeal to be this, that, and the other thing, and separate. So it's an exploration. It's a deep investigation. And from my experience, it really requires a deep curiosity, because, to be honest, a thought really prefers to hold things the way it's been believed and to hold itself as separate and improving. But it's all good, however, however it appears, whatever is unfolding, however it unfolds. I'd love to have a conversation about this with anyone. I'd love to hear your ponderings, and I really am delighted to have your visits. Thank you so much for being here.